There we are. Hello.
Okay, my condolences to the Leaf fans that are in our crowd, so better luck next year. Harley tells me that the Raptors did okay though, so anyhow, those are things that we have to face. So, that being said, Heather, call the roll.
Mr. Pringle.
Present.
Mr. Mackey sends his regrets. Mr. Barfoot.
Present.
Mr. Burley. Present. Mr. McQueen. Present. Warden Halliday.
Present.
Ms. Patterson.
Present.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Ms. Clumpus. Here. Mr. Greenfield. Present. Mr. Body. Present. Ms. Wright. Here. Ms. Fosbrook.
Present.
Mr. Woodbury.
Here.
Mr. McKean. Present. Ms. Ardell.
In attendance.
Mr. Eccles.
Counted for.
Mr. Bell.
Present.
Thank you.
Only one missing? He's over in China with his family, that's great. Okay, if anybody has wants to declare a pecuniary interest, they can do it now, or they can do it when the occasion arises. So, we have a retirement presentation.
Okay, I'll leave this. You bring it when you.
Okay. The CEO is going to make a presentation and to Mark Graham, so.
Good morning, council, staff, and guests. It's my sincere pleasure this morning to recognize a long-serving employee and a very special person in the Grey County family on the occasion of her retirement. I'm not sure how many of you know Marg's record of service with the county. She actually started her career with the Land Registry Office here in this building, and then moved over to join the county as the secretary of the Land Division Committee. The Land Registry Office was located here in this location. So Marg has been coming to work at 595 9th Avenue for over 40 years. Whoa. So she was with Land Division Committee, and some of you around the Horseshoe will recall that in the earlier years, we were processing up to 2,000 severances a year. And so Marg was in charge of working through that process. It's just an unbelievable number to us today, I think. In 1991, the province stepped in to curtail the severances, and Marg was left in the enviable position at that time of working with provincial staff to have some of those severances reinstated locally. So, another excellent job. Marg's other roles for the county earlier in her career included acting as the deputy clerk in 1991 and as the agriculture and tourism coordinator in 1997. Again, some of you will remember the who does what exercise or the local services realignment that happened in the late 1990s. The provincial government was looking to realign services, and many municipalities received new services to provide, and for us that meant the Provincial Offences Court came under the county's jurisdiction. Former County Clerk Sharon Vokes recalled in a meeting with Norm Gamble, the CAO at the time, asking what were we going to do about this and who could possibly lead something like a Provincial Offences Court. And together he and Sharon decided that Marg Graham was the perfect person to undertake that role. Her work with land severances meant that she was adept at understanding provincial legislation, and she understood the protocols of statutory meetings, which is pretty important when you're trying to run a court. Her work with Land Registry and with Land Division meant that she knew most of the lawyers in the area, and more importantly, she had a good rapport with them and was well respected. On the first day of operating the court, staff were deluged with unhappy people coming to pay fines. It was a court day, so I don't know how we managed to have the first day be a court day, but it seemed, or it became apparent to everyone, that the province had decided to clean up the files before they transferred them to our jurisdiction, and that meant that a whole bunch of people got their licenses suspended, and and they were there, so not the happiest group of clients of the day, but you know, they managed, and Marg stuck with it, and they persevered. And so spring forward from that early day back in 2000 to 2010, where Marg, along with Brian Richards from our Information Technology Department and Phyllis Stewart, worked together to develop something called Dashboard, which is the trial coordination web application that we have. And this was so innovative, and they were such leaders in undertaking that project. It provides an efficient and effective way of transmitting and receiving the information and communications between the court prosecutor, the 9 police services in Grey and Bruce counties, and our court staff. And it just made a world of difference to how efficient and effective we were able to be. They received the E.A. Danby Award for that project, and the E.A. Danby Award is something that's awarded to, one project across the whole province of Ontario, and it recognizes outstanding performance and innovation. So well done to everyone for that. Marg has excelled as POA manager. She took something that none of us knew anything about and made it all work. She's well respected by the justices of the peace, the senior justices, the Crown Attorney, and her peers across the province.
You didn't get the memo.
Don't make Marg cry, only because you can make him cry, so we can cry together here. Marg has been a wonderful mentor to Amanda Kokas, who steps in to fill her very big shoes once Marg retires tomorrow. Marg, I want to thank you for your service and your attitude and your work ethic. We'll miss you and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Had to use your services in POA, so, but anyhow, it's great to have an employee that's as dedicated as you are in our community. So on behalf of the council,
I would be remiss if I
you're going
didn't,
to say a few words?
if I didn't take this opportunity to thank Councillor, the Warden and Council, and the senior management team, and of course, all of the different departments, and my POA staff who are still supporting me today. I couldn't have done it without that support and trust.
Well, it's all about teamwork out here. So.
It is, and I have a great team to work with.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's have a, so, thanks, Martin. Follow the arrows. Well, that was great to have an employee spend so long in our midst. That's great. So, Heather, you have a little item that you want to bring forward.
So I wanted to introduce Jacqueline Morrison. Jacqueline is going to be starting as our new Deputy Clerk Legislative Coordinator on Monday. And she'll be replacing... No, she's not related to me. No. She'll be replacing Tara as Tara goes off on maternity leave. Jacqueline is a graduate of the University of Waterloo with an honors degree in legal studies and a graduate of the Faculty of Law at the University of Ottawa. She's been practicing law in Owen Sound for 3 years with Carrie Lee and most recently with Jane Robertson. Jacqueline actually is a familiar face around Grey County. She spent 3 summers as a summer student with us, both in the Clerk's Department and Provincial Offences, and prior to her entering law school. So she will be starting on Monday. She is there beside Rob, and I thought coming to council today to observe the proceedings before jumping in with both feet on Monday was good. So welcome, Jacqueline.
That's great. Congratulations, and we look forward to working with you while Tara's off on maternity leave. All right. We have, next on is the adoption of the minutes. And need to put that the minutes of the County Council meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting dated April the 12th, 2018, and the resolutions contained therein be adopted as presented. Put that on the floor. Councilor Barfoot, seconder by Councilor Bell. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Motion is carried. The next is the Committee of the Whole closed meeting minutes dated April the 12th, 2018. That the Committee of the Whole closed meeting minutes dated April the 12th, 2018 be adopted as provided to County Council. Put that on the floor. Councilor Barf, Councilor Fosbrook, seconder Councilor Pringle. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? The motion is carried. Next is that the Committee of Management minutes dated March the 22nd, 2018 be adopted as presented to County Council, and that the Committee of Management closed meeting minutes dated March the 22nd be adopted as provided to County Council. Councilor Burley, seconded by Councilor Eccles. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. We're not going into closed session. Thank you. So, we do the bylaws one at a time or all? What's your preference? Yeah, so we're going to bring forward several bylaws here. And bylaw 5011-18, a bylaw to establish tax ratios for prescribed property classes for the year 2018. Bylaw 5012-18, a bylaw to set tax rate reductions for prescribed property subclasses for the year 2018. Bylaw 5013-18, a bylaw to establish and levy tax rates for upper tier purposes for the year 2018. Bylaw 5014-18, a bylaw to adopt municipal options related to Part 9 of the Municipal Act 2010, limitations on taxes for certain property classes. 5018, a bylaw to acquire certain lands in the municipality of West Gray, geographic township of Benedict, as described in Schedule A into the county housing inventory. Put that on the floor. Councilor Greenfield, seconded by Councilor Fosbrook. Any questions? Councilor Fosbrook and then Councilor McQueen.
If I may, Mr. Warden, I'm just a little unclear procedurally how we jumped over point 7. Did we decide that that was not required?
It was an option if someone had asked for it, but the minutes of the closed meeting were approved.
So,
That being said, there was no need to go and examine them. It's an option that's available.
I guess the fact that it follows the step before, my interpretation was we were going to move into step 7. So,
It says if required.
and so how is that determined if we don't address step 7?
Well, that would have been required if C had been pulled and out for discussion. So it wasn't, so therefore it was not required.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're still seconding the motion?
Sure.
Councilor McQueen.
Mr. Warden and County Councilor and the public. These bylaws are all rolled up. There's a number of bylaws, but I guess I will be speaking specifically to bylaw 5011-18. It was alleged that at the last county council meeting that I may have a conflict of interest with regards to my position on the Grey County Federation of Ag. And there was mention about the terms of reference. Well, I researched a little bit that regard, and there is no terms of reference with regards to the County of Grey, nor there is any terms of reference to the Grey County Federation of Ag that they could find at this time. There are minutes representing or reflecting representation from Grey County Council and also from the county's clerk. It was mentioned that there's representation prior to 1996 from the county council. I guess, in a sense, with the lack of terms of reference and then the understanding of our role as myself or others on external boards, one could say that maybe we all have a perceived or an indirect conflict of interest, whether it's in a negative or a positive way. I will say that I have had some correspondence to the Integral Commissioner that we now have in place for our county councilors and the public. And I will say that just in a brief email that has been sent, that, and I will say before I speak to that, I feel that there's an interest in common for a lot of things as we wear as hats as county councilors. Similar to that, I have received an email this morning from our Integral Commissioner saying such a thing, that as today's agenda item, I asked for clarity, and he was, the correspondence came back that my position on this in particular is an interest in common. But with saying that, Mr. Warden, in the due process of county councilors in my position, I will be declaring an indirect conflict of interest, and I will be stepping away from the horseshoe at this particular time, and I will break this sheet out to hand this to the clerk at before the end of the day.
Thank you, Councillor McQueen. Any other points? Yes, Councillor Fosbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. In relation to the 3 bylaws that relate to taxes, I did take the opportunity to have a brief discussion with our Director of Finance, and in addition to looking forward to, subsequent discussions on these topics throughout the year for the next tax cycle, I'd also like to point out that my understanding with regard to vacant tax rebates on commercial property is something that I know has an impact in our community. And as we talk about downtown revitalizations and, how these incentives impact the downtown core, I just wanted to comment that as we go forward, I would look forward to understanding how we can massage those tax rates with the best possible outcomes for some struggling downtown communities that we have. Thank you.
Thank you for that input. Any other discussions on that? All right, we'll vote on the motions there to pass these bylaws. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. So we're on to Section 9 today, which is good news and celebrations. Yes, Councillor Gail Ardell.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I stand here as a really proud mom because all of us have, well, maybe not all of us have children, but quite a few of us have children. And my son, who is a chartered accountant and a young entrepreneur in the agricultural field, applied for an application with many hundreds of other people to be awarded a trip to New Zealand, and only 10 people were awarded this trip. So he did go in February, and in the Good Fruit Grower, because we're apple growers,
Right.
he did get to go, and they did a YouTube, and he is featured on the back page of this magazine as being one of the young entrepreneurs that did attend New Zealand. He went for 2 weeks on their ticket, but on 1 week on his own ticket, and he did get to see the sights there. But it's very interesting of the other young people that did get to go to this trip in New Zealand. He roomed with a fella from Chile, and so they've become great friends, but there was other people from all of North America and other countries as well who were involved in this. So it was to learn agricultural best practices. And now coming back to Grey County and being a young entrepreneur working on our farm in the apple industry and how they could be more innovative and bring different varieties of apples to the area, I think it's a really prominent thing, and I'm very proud of my son for achieving this, because there was many people that couldn't get to go, but it's just to be able to go to another country and learn the apple industry, the cattle industry, the crop industry, all forms of agriculture. I think it was pretty exciting. So if anybody wants to read this later on, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, Councillor Ardell. It's nice to be a proud mama, so
Yeah.
you've done that well. Any other good news and celebrations? Councillor Eccles.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Every year, Heart and Stroke, and I see some of us with our daffodils on here, Heart and Stroke Month, and for the past number of years, the Grey County, not on a continuous basis, but Grey County has been in on the big bike ride to raise awareness for stroke. And I have been recruited to be on the big bike ride. I have participated with the county, I've participated with our lower tier as well too in this fundraising event. So I know that most of you avoid me when I come directly towards you on many occasions, but I hope I'm going to be doing a little bit of fundraising for the big bike ride. And this year, it's equally or more important to me and to the residents of West Grey. Our long-term serving council member, Carol Lawrence, who did serve here as a county councillor, had a stroke a couple of weeks ago, is recovering. So I'm dedicating anything and everything that I have to Carol in going forward in this project, which is on May 1st, next Tuesday at 4:30. There will be a number of county council members. Randy, can you think of it? Is it 25 on the bike?
I can't remember the exact number on the bike, but.
Yeah, but it'll be at least 25 of us on the big bike, pedaling our butts around Owen Sound. So the mayor, you may want to donate heavily to for our butts to be in Owen Sound. I will let you do that. Yeah, just a pea shooter. I've seen you shoot before. That'll be better than having O'Leary throw tomatoes at us.
Thank you for the, Councillor Wright, do you want to be recognized? Okay.
I saw her, I went to see her.
I know, I understand. Very good. I'm sorry to hear about Carol, so hopefully she has a successful recovery. And I would donate if you to put an electric motor on it, but we'll see. But for Carol's sake, you'll see me afterwards. Thank you. Okay, any other good news or celebrations? Well, okay. I would mention that I think everybody's got this envelope here. So our Grey Roots is starting the new, I suppose, display for Ice Age mammals. And they're putting me on display at 6 o'clock next Friday, this Friday rather, to announce and declare it open. So some of my relatives you'll see around the ring there. So that being said, I think we should all try and attend at some point in time. Thank you. Okay. We need a motion for adjournment. Councillor Pringle, seconder. Yes, Councillor Woodbury. Okay, thank you. Declare this section of the meeting adjourned.